What happens when someone goes from training like an elite to training like an amateur? Well, that's what I did, and after 3 years of minimal training, here I am in extreme pain getting lab tested to soon get a clear answer to how much worse did I actually get. It's 10 minutes until my testing appointment and I'm starting to seriously question my life choices. But I want to do this test for two main reasons. First of all, I'm genuinely curious of how much worse I have gotten from basically going from elite training to training like an amateur the last couple of years. And also I'm curious to know if a test like this has any value for someone like me that nowadays are far from elite. Can you walk us through what we're going to do today, or what are you going to do to me?
You're going to do it to yourself.
Yeah, it's voluntary. I'm here by my own choice.
We're going to do lactate profile, just to estimate your lactate threshold. So there we take you through some steps from pretty easy pace for you, and then we do that and measure your lactate to see how it evolves and where we estimate where you pass your threshold.
And the second test we will do?
And then it's game time, then it's the VO2 max test, which is a lot shorter, but it goes in much faster increments. So we're going to put you on a bit of a hill, 5%, and you are going to run with a mask until you cannot run anymore.
So the painful bit.
Yeah. So there we measure your maximal aerobic capacity. How much oxygen can your body pump through and utilize.
During the warm-up I gave Askild a challenge to see how accurately he could predict my test results just based on my previous test 6 years ago and how much I trained back then and how little I trained the last few years. So 6 years ago I had a VO2 max of 71.5 and a lactate threshold speed of 17.4 kilometers per hour, and back then I trained like an elite orienteering runner, averaging around 14 hours of training per week with about 80% in low intensity and 20% the higher intensity workouts. And the last 3 years after having kids and quitting my elite career, I have averaged around 5 hours per week with about 5% high intensity. I also have gained about 5 kilograms in weight since my last test. And my whole goal this last couple of years, since I have prioritized the training way less, has been to still always maintain some training every single week to lose as little fitness as possible. And I guess we'll get a black and white answer of how well I have succeeded on that pretty soon. I guessed myself that my threshold was going to be 15.8 kilometers per hour now, and VO2 max was going to be 60.5. So let's hear what Askild thinks based on this information and his huge knowledge of endurance sports and training. But before we do that, let's see if you can get it closer than us, and leave a comment with your guess, and no cheating and seeing the results first.
I think your threshold pace is a big pitfall here for me, but I think it's easier to guess. I would guess around 3 minutes 45 per kilometer or 16 kilometers per hour. As for the VO2 max, harder to guess, but I'm going for 61.6. 5 seconds, 3, 2, 1, and we have you on 13K, so 6 minutes here. Good work. So now we're starting to get Göran quite stable around 38 to 40 milliliters per kilo for his O2 consumption at 13K an hour. Norwegians are notorious for wanting the highest possible VO2 max, and that's a good thing, but in these sub-maximal tests you should actually be happy if you read low oxygen consumption at these sub-maximal intensities, because it means you are economical. 3, 2, 1 and jump. Nice. 1.6 in the previous, 1.8 now. Go for 15k an hour. And we have 2.4. So that's a good thing. We're not there yet. 3.0. So that's a really good one. I'm quite surprised. So we go for what will probably be the last. Really good, really good. Try to run as relaxed as you can. Really good. Good work. I was quite wrong in the last one, but now I guess we are at maybe 4.75 millimole, maybe. And we got 5.1.
So first part of the test done. Had to work a bit for the last 6 minutes, but it was actually nice having Askild cheering me on a bit and feeling quite comfortable. And now the suffer fest will begin. It will be, what do you think? It will be like 8 minutes of pain?
Yeah, could be as much. I think you're really good at pushing yourself, so 8 minutes would be impressive. We're going to start going for 5% incline, and we're going to start you just below your lactate threshold for the first speed, with increments of 1 kilometer per hour every minute. 3, 2, 1, and we're going. 1 minute at 13k. Come on, try to get this as cheap as possible. Have you at 14k? Good work, man. Still in control. Very good. And we got 15k an hour. That's 4 minute pace per kilometer at 5%. Good work, man. Come on, come on. And we go 16k an hour. Come on, man. Come on, come on. Looking strong today. Come on. 3, 2, 1, and we go 17. Come on, come on. I know it's getting hard, but you got this. Come on, come on, come on. You see the finish line, but you're not there yet. Come on, come on. Go, 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 go. Stable at 57. We want another jump. Go for it, man. A good one. It's a good one.
It's fun.
I think you're the first guy who said like within 20 seconds that the test is finished. So this is fun.
It was pretty painful, but pretty fun as well.
Yeah.
And now, before we reveal my data and you go through all the data you collected, both on the threshold and VO2 max, can you try to explain to me and to the viewers, like what is the benefit as you see it to do a test like this for someone like me that is far from an elite runner?
And I think you as an example is quite good, because you've been an elite runner, you could say, in orienteering, and then you've grown up, you got kids, and you train a bit less, but then maybe, I don't know, but maybe you need kind of a reality check on where you stand. So it's good to train by feel, but it's also nice to get confirmation, or the opposite, that maybe you thought you were better or worse than you are. So I think the main benefit and the data that you can use the most in your training from now is your threshold data with the lactate. Because then you get like the gold standard objective measurement on where your lactate threshold is, and you can gauge your effort in a really good way. And the point of threshold training, I would say, is that you get a lot of benefit without that much of a physical cost. So you can fine tune your intensity to get. Now you said previously you trained 14 hours per week, now it's 5, then you can see, okay, how can I get the most out of my 5 hours?
It will give me like really accurate data when it comes to doing these threshold sessions, not just guessing that this is threshold pace.
Yeah, and it's maybe not that important. A lot of times people think that if I get this pace, I need to be exactly there. not the case. You should be like in the area, but then working around how did it feel today. Maybe you have a worse or a better day, then you can go a bit by feel, but you are supported by the data. So you know that what you are doing is constructive.
And then for the like all-out VO2 max test, that is more to get like a black and white answer of how strong your engine is. So,
your max capacity aerobic engine, and I would say that that is also a really good health parameter. So we already know that you are very well trained, but for a broader spectrum of people, it's like a really good health parameter to see like longevity. For us that are occupied with performance, I think it's not that much you can use the number for, like when you go out and train now, but it says a lot about your max capacity versus your threshold capacity, how much you utilize, and also if you want to try to, if we find out that your max capacity is your like bottleneck, your limit, then you can work for a bit to try to increase it, come back and see if it has worked.
So you can get some good data to guide your training if you should focus on boosting the VO2 max or getting the lactate threshold closer to the VO2 max. But I guess if you like would recommend just doing one of these two physical tests to like an amateur, I guess the most useful one is the threshold one to get those paces.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so now I'm curious to see and get to know my exact values from the test and get that reality check. See how my lack of training has affected.
And we also guessed before the test. And you guessed for the threshold pace, you guessed?
I think I said 15.8.
15.8, and I said 16.0. And you surprised positively, you came in at 16.3, which will be 3 minutes 41 seconds per kilometer. So 0.5 kilometers an hour better than you thought. So happy?
I'm actually a bit surprised because it's way closer to where I was when I was training as an elite or in team.
A lot of people underestimate, like it's a really good thing that you have trained a lot, you've been at like a really high level, and now you see you're training a third of what you did, but you can still maintain probably better than you thought.
So I'm really happy with that actually, because like 3 years ago when me and my wife got twins and I had to work quite much, and so and I like my thinking was that I will at least never stop training, but I will reduce the amount a lot. But because my thinking is if I would stopped all training for a year, I would lose a lot. But if I can maintain a bit, my goal was to maintain as much fitness as possible.
And it's so worth it. It's so worth it. It's like even if you had like 2 sessions of 40 minutes a week, then that would be like the biggest difference is between nothing and something. Like all the rest is, you get more gains, but do something.
So that was the threshold, and the VO2 max, my max capacity, that was 71.5 approximately 6 years ago.
71.5 6 years ago, and you guessed 60.5.
60.5.
So we come in at 61.3.
So
win. I win.
But it's pretty cool that you could, like, based on just the knowledge of my previous data and how I trained the last couple of years, you got really close to actually guessing my number.
But that's also a bit of luck.
But I think it has something to do that you have seen a lot of people and know a lot about these kind of data. I've been thinking about how it is with age, because I'm 33 years old now, and as I understood it, even though you elite athletes that continue training at a high level, it gradually like start decreasing. And at what age do you naturally see a decrease?
40. So 40, you're not there yet.
I cannot complain about my age.
No, you can't. I can't either, but I can soon. I'm 38 now, and I was looking into this purely for egotistical reasons, and it's around. It's not like the day you turn 40, then it shuts off. But if you see on large populations, then you see it, of course, most clearly in those kind of people that don't work out that much. But then you see like past 40 until 50, then you see maybe a 10-15% decline. Yeah.
So we can't complain about the age.
The
reason that my like performance decrease is due to less training, not because that I'm getting older.
Definitely.
So that's good. That means I can do something about it as well.
That's a good attitude. If I were your coach, I would say, if possible, try to pump up your volume. So it could still be like if you go from 5 to 8 hours a week, if possible, without getting exhausted, then that would make a big difference. And then have a good mix of threshold work and also some maybe a bit above threshold, like called zone 4. Because you have a big foundation from your previous elite years, and you can handle it, and that would give you good bang for the buck.
It would be fun to try to increase my training a bit and come back here in a half year or see if I can.
But it's always like increase your training if you can still sleep good and absorb it, because then you've seen how much you already do with 5 hours.
Because that's been my struggle the last couple of years, mainly the sleep. I've noticed so much sleeping less, then if that's why I'll train so much less high intensity session, because if I have one high intensity workout and then have a bad night of sleep with kids crying and so on, I'm dead for the next 2-3 days. So I'm trying to,
but that's like, you could say that's the everyday guy's point of threshold training. That for the elite guys, it's like they train so much that they need to be really accurate and don't overdo it. But you live so much, like the total load is high with the kids and maybe the lack of sleep. So then you can also use the data and the threshold to say, okay, I'm doing really good work here, but I don't overdo it.
A huge thanks to Askild for doing this test and providing a lot of interesting training insights. I know, at least for me, doing a test like this is a real motivation boost. I already feel more motivated to try to ramp up my training a bit again. And I'm also really happy with how I've been able to maintain a somewhat good fitness for the last couple of years after stopping my elite career. And if you want to do a test like this yourself and are in the Oslo area, I can highly recommend hitting up Askild. I will leave the links in the description to this video. Train smart, have fun, and I will see you in the next video.